time for a tune-up. It's time for a spiritual tune-up. So imagine that you're getting ready to go on a road trip in your car. Before you go, you want to take your car to the mechanic and make sure that everything's working. Make sure your tires are aligned, you have a tune-up, and everything's working. You don't want to take off on a road trip with a tire that keeps losing air, or an engine that sometimes doesn't start, or an air conditioner that's flaky and doesn't always work. No, you want all those things handled. Well, our spiritual life is the same way. Sometimes we need a spiritual tune-up to prepare us to move forward on our journey. And just like on a car trip, a spiritual tune-up can prepare us for new experiences, to see new things, to experience life in a new way. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principles, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. That's what's possible when we're tuned up. We take that pause for guidance. We also have what we call our Declaration of Principles. This is a list of statements written by our founder, Ernest Holmes. This list is found in the front of every issue of the Science of Mind magazine that you can look to. One of my favorites in this list is, we believe that the kingdom of heaven is within us, and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. Heaven is there. It's our consciousness that changes to make it come real for us. And a second statement in that Declaration of Principles says, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Think again of when you know that your car is tuned up and ready to go. That gives you a kind of freedom. You don't have to be in fear, and our spiritual tune-up serves that same purpose. Ernest Holmes wrote a wonderful little book called This Thing Called You. If you haven't read that book, you might want to get it. Some of my quotes today are from that book. And here's one of the things he said in that book. You are to find the roots of your life in pure spirit. When you lose your sense of being separated from your good, you will find that you are united with it. So we're going to look at 3 aspects of your personal spiritual tune-up. So the first one is, get support and take the time you need. Now, if your car wasn't running properly, you wouldn't try to fix it yourself unless, you had knowledge and skill as a mechanic. And you also wouldn't expect it to be done in 5 minutes. So the same thing is true of our spiritual tune-up. Now think about what a tune-up accomplishes for your car. Makes the engine start more easily. It may improve your fuel economy, lower the emissions, restore pep and power that was lost. Might improve the performance of your engine. That's possible for you too. Wouldn't you like your day to start more easily, have more energy, restore your pep? That's what happens, and that's what's possible when you realign with the infinite. Next, notice where you would like improvement in your life and be teachable in those areas. Now, imagine that you're driving your car and the check engine light comes on. If you're like me, I'm stressed then. I'm stressed to see that. What's wrong? What's going to happen? I don't like it. So imagine if I took my car to the mechanic and said, the check engine light is on and it's stressing me and I don't like to see it. Could you please put some duct tape over it so I won't be stressed? Now that would be silly, wouldn't it? Of course it would. But sometimes we do that in life. Something comes up that is just a message to us, letting us know that there's something in our life we need to pay attention to. Now, when the check engine light comes on, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's letting us know you need to pay attention. You need to take action. And when things happen in our lives, we may label those as wrong or bad or something that shouldn't have happened, resisting the stress, not liking it, when really it's the same thing. It's a message to us that there's something in our lives that we need to pay attention to, that we need to take action. And often what we need to do is embrace our humanness, accept the fact that we're not perfect, that we make mistakes, that we need more practice in an area. You know, sometimes if a person in your life is kind of constantly getting on your nerves, maybe that's a gift. So you have more practice in being patient, in being understanding, in seeing something from another person's point of view, from getting over your tendency to care too much what other people think and base your own sense of who you are on other people's judgments and opinions of you. So think about that. Notice where you might like improvement in your life. So earlier this summer, my oldest son, Ray, who's near 50, has taken up boxing and was going to be in his first fight. He's there in the red. You can see him. Now, so I went up to Utah to see him in his fight, and it was really interesting. There was a big arena and all these people, and there were 8 fights, and he was in the next to the last fight. And while the other fighters were going, I was just watching. It was kind of interesting. You know, they're up there, like punching each other. And of course, it seemed a little silly, but there they were. Well, then all of a sudden, my son is up there, and this other big guy is punching him in the face as hard as he can, trying to knock him down. Oh, you're a mother or a parent. Like, you can imagine how that felt. Well, he did get knocked down, and he went down to his knee, and he got back up. The fight continued, and he lost the fight. Now, I asked him afterwards, I said, why did you want to do that? You know, it's most other areas of his life. He's a sort of reasonable person. Well, he told me that the reason he did that was that he wanted to challenge himself. He wanted to see if he could do that, if he could step into that ring knowing that other guy was going to be doing everything he could to knock him down and to make it through that. And he did. So in his mind, and as far as I could see too, what a success. He said he learned a lot about boxing, about his strengths, his weaknesses, and he was willing to learn. He was willing to take it on and learn. So this second part of our tune-up, when we notice what needs improvement in our lives and are willing to be teachable in those areas, Ray showed us how to do that. He didn't see getting knocked down as a failure. He didn't see losing the fight as a failure. He saw it as a success, that he took on a challenge, he stood up there, and he made it through. It's all about learning what we're capable of, learning what we can do, being willing to step into the unknown, being willing to stretch ourselves. That's being humble, that's being teachable, that's being open to the experiences that life brings to us. When we stop learning, that's when we start to get old. Einstein said that once you stop learning, you start dying. And Henry Ford said something very similar. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young, to be open, to be ready. So often when something doesn't go the way that we expected it to or wanted it to or thought it should, we label that as a failure instead of being teachable and saying, what's here? What's here in this experience for me to learn from? So the last way to look at your spiritual tune-up, let go of that which you don't want in your life and share the things that you do want. Look at our car again that we're thinking about. You're getting ready to go on a long road trip. You notice that one of your tires is kind of getting bald. It's a good time to get rid of that tire. Let it go. Replace that. Your brake pads are worn, squealing. It's time to let those go. They've served you well. A tire has served you well. There's nothing wrong with that tire. It's not bad. It's just time to let it go. Ernest Holmes talked about this idea so much. He said, you should let go of the lesser in order to experience the greater. This is not a bad bargain. If you lose a sense of unhappiness, you will become happy. If you lose a sense of confusion, you will be at peace. This is not the easiest thing to do. When you are in pain, it is difficult to affirm peace. When you are in want, it is hard to affirm abundance. But this is the true meaning of losing your life. What you lose is a false sense of being. You are trading the unreal for the real, the false for the true. If you wish to live in the kingdom of heaven, forget hell. So, last fall, I had a really amazing experience. I was meditating, as I generally do in the morning, letting myself be still, watching my breathing, opening myself to what Spirit wanted to communicate to me. And a question came into my mind. And the question was, what if the world is absolutely perfect the way it is? I was thinking about that for a minute, and then this knowing came over me that the world was absolutely perfect just the way it is. How could it not be? How could it be any different? And as I let myself sort of be in that feeling and looked around, my windows, my kitchen faced east, and in the morning when the light comes through, it makes these beautiful squares of light on the floor. I looked at those lights. I looked around at my house at many things that I had labeled not perfect before. Some cluttery areas, and this kid's craft table that I hadn't cleaned up, and this that needed to be done. But instead of seeing those as something wrong, I had this feeling of incredible freedom. And with that freedom, this energy. Because everything was perfect, I was completely free to do anything. I could clean up this little bit of clutter here or not. Do this, I could do that or not do it. I could change the body I have, or I could not change it and have it be the way it is. I could move to a different house, or I could not. It's this sense of freedom. Of course, we all know that Jesus said, know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So that truth he was talking about was this truth, that things are perfect the way they are. Now, we have a tendency to think they're not, to think that things should be different. That our mother should be different, our child should be different. And when we're thinking that, we don't have any freedom. We're not living in alignment with our spiritual principles. We're like a car with the tires out of alignment, trying to go down the road and keep going off to the side because we're out of alignment. When we're in alignment, we're free. We're free to let go, relax, learn, accept all the challenges that face us. So, of course, Ernest Holmes had something to say about this, too. He suggested we say this to ourselves. All suggestions of age, poverty, limitation, or unhappiness is uprooted from my mind and cannot gain entrance to my thought. Right now, I am happy, well, filled with perfect life. I live in the spirit of truth and am conscious that the spirit of truth lives in me. I know, and I know that I know. Let every thought of doubt vanish from my mind, that I may know the truth, and the truth may make me free. So I want to share a little parable with you that sort of illustrates what we've been talking about, letting go of that which no longer serves us, being aligned with our spiritual principles, with what we know is true about ourselves. This story is called The Lobster, and it's by Jean Pellegrino. Now, like many parables, I don't know if it's a true story or not. It may be, or it may be a made-up story. I think it could be a true story. And remember what I always say about stories. It doesn't matter if it's a true story or a made-up story. What matters is what it teaches us. So long ago, when the world was very new, there was a certain lobster who was determined that the Creator had made a mistake. So he set up an appointment to discuss the matter. With all due respect, the lobster said, I wish to complain about the way you designed my shell. You see, just as I get used to it, then I have to shed it for another. It's very inconvenient and a waste of time. To which the Creator replied, I see, but do you realize that it's the giving up of one shell that allows you to grow into another? But I like myself the way I am, the lobster said. So your mind is made up then? The Creator said. Indeed, the lobster replied firmly. Very well, smiled the Creator. From now on, your shell will no longer change, and you may go about your business just as you do right now. Remember, the universe always says yes. It's not trying to force anything on us. It's very kind of you, said the lobster, and left. So first, for a while, the lobster was very content. No more change. But as time passed, he found that his once comfortable shell was becoming tighter and tighter. After a while, it was so cumbersome that he could hardly move. He was constantly bumping into things, and finally it got to the point where he could hardly breathe. So with great effort, he went back to see the Creator. "With all due respect," the lobster sighed, "contrary to what you promised me, my shell has not remained the same. It keeps shrinking." "No," smiled the Creator, "it has remained the same size. What happened is that you changed inside, within your shell." The Creator continued, "You see, everything changes continuously. That's how I created things. When you let go of your old shell and choose to grow," said the Creator, "you build new strength within yourself. And in that strength, you'll find new capacity. Capacity to love yourself, those around you, to love life itself. And this is my plan for you. This is my plan for everyone." How often are we like that? Complaining when things change, when all that is a chance for us to grow and expand into who we're meant to be. Open ourselves to the wide open possibility of who we can be, what we can do, the difference we can make in the world. So we've looked at time for a tune-up, a pause for guidance. I encourage you to take this week to look at your life. Are there places where you're trying to put the duct tape over the check engine light, trying to ignore something that's a message to you, that there's something in your life that you need to pay attention to? Are there things in your life that it's time to let go of? Same way you'd let go of a worn tire. Let them go so that new things can come into being, things that will support you in your plan, in your life. And let go of your judgment of yourself, of others. Be humble, be ready, be willing. When we do that, we allow ourselves to receive a spiritual tune-up, receive the guidance we need, get ourselves aligned with what's true for us. Let's pause for a moment now and go into prayer together. You know, we begin our services with an announcement to the universe. Universe, we're paying attention. We like to end our services with gratitude for what we've learned, what we've experienced. So if you like, close your eyes, or you might look on something beautiful, a candle, beautiful scene out your window. Let yourself relax. Be easy. Know that all is well. Know that we live in freedom. We live in a world of abundance, of joy. That energy, that powerful, positive, creative energy that is in all and through all, constantly expanding, pushing forward, pushing out, is in and through us. And we are surrounded by a love that encourages us, that lifts us, that gives us exactly the experiences we need to grow, to prosper, to expand our vision. As we stay in this place of knowing This is where we're free. We're free to say, I'm ready to take action, to make a difference, to change the world. I am free and I am supported. I am not alone. I am connected to all that is. I know that I am led, I am guided, that when I open my mind, intuition guides me in the right way. When I am out of alignment, I'm aware of it and I know what to do. That's spiritual tune-up. In this place of knowing, of coming together, we give thanks. We're so grateful for our center, for our connection, for our love for each other. We're thankful for the gifts that come, for our ability to learn, to grow, to expand. We accept our ability to be teachable, to be humble, to be ready. We live in a space of ultimate gratitude where everything we look at is a gift from the universe. And now, in this place of freedom, of joy, of gratitude, we let it all be, knowing all is well, all is perfect, as we say together, and so it is.